Welcome. Namaste, beautiful souls. Thanks for being here. Today, I am here to answer some questions. There have been a few that have arisen. I am doing a series on my channel, readings for each of the major arcana. And I began this year with the Justice card as number 8, and that was my first reading. And the reason that I started with Justice this year was because 2024, I am going to be shifting the majority of my content into Tarot de Marseille decks that use Justice as is number 8. Pip decks, a little bit of cartomancy, and I will be focusing on learning actually how to read with playing cards in my Facebook group. So I'm going to be really moving away from Waite Smith inspired decks, Thoth decks for 2024. And so I decided that's why I was going to start with Justice. So today I'm here to answer your questions about my spread, about the way one could select your card of the year. And so I'm going to get to all of that in just a moment. And if you aren't familiar with who I am, my name is Sadhana, and I am a tarot teacher and a tarot reader. And I have a lot of offerings on my channel, both free as well as membership options. And if you go to my website, integrativehealingwithsadhana.com, and go to the shop, there's lots of courses and other offerings there as well. So let's just talk about selecting your card of the year. This is an interesting process. When I first started doing this, I had a very different numerological way of calculating my card of the year than I am doing presently. And I've always had an affinity for mathematics. And one of the things that I learned is if you are doing this mathematically, if you are doing this numerologically, then regardless of the method that you choose, your number will pare down to a common denominator. So what I mean by this is if you use any of the systems to calculate your card of the year and you end up with a 12, well, had you done it another way, you may very well have got 21, or you might have gotten 3, because both 21 reduces to 3 and 12 reduces to 3. And so any of these numbers could have shown up. And so if you get confused by this, one of the things you can do is to work with a number, like say you got 12 and you want to work with the Hanged Man this year, you may also want to pay attention to the number 3 as well. There may be lessons in that number for you. So yes, I do this mathematically, and yes, the system that I'm doing right now is, I believe, the one that Mary Greer teaches. It's very common. You simply add your day of birth. Mine is a 12th of August. So I add 12 and 8, which is 20. And then add that to 2024. I can't believe it's 2024. And 2024 and 20, when I add that up, I'm not very good at doing this in my head, and I've done this a million times already, but let me get a spare piece of paper. 2042, right? Should be. So 2020, 2024, and if I'm adding 20 to that, yes, it's, no, it's 2044. And 2044 reduces to a 10. And so I am working with myself, with my own year ahead as 10. So I'm working with the wheel as my card for this year. I could also reduce that and be working with the Magician as my card for the year. So numerologically, either of those numbers, either of those cards are going to have some sort of a significance for me. I'm going to be paying attention to 10s and to 1s, beginnings and endings. And It's really interesting. The more that you dive into the geometry, the symbology that comes out through sacred geometry and shapes and I don't know, platonic solids, all these things that sort of appear in various tarot cards. It's absolutely fascinating. There are some tarot decks like this one, which is the Lumina. The aces have sacred geometry on them, and I know there's lots of tarot decks that have sacred geometry, and this is part of working with numbers and being fascinated with shapes and the energy that this all creates, because numbers are energy. Numbers have their own mandala, they have a frequency. And if you could see numbers energetically, there would be a shape to it. So, hi, Amy, welcome. All right, so let's look at Amy's comment. Every time I think I'm doing the math right, I hear someone else do it a different way, so I don't know what is correct. Okay, so let me say that there is no correct way. And Amy, I'm going to give you a couple. So let's work with Amy's, and just because I have this posted here. So if you missed my personal reading where I worked, if you want to see that video, I shared my own year ahead reading. Okay, so let's work with Georgia Wildflower's birthday. Okay, so 11 plus 17 plus 20, 24. Okay, 11, 17, and those of you that are arithmetic whizzes are probably laughing at me. 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, I get 2052 equals 2052. Okay, so is that what you get? So that is therefore that's a 9. So in this method, I would say that working with the Hermit would be your card for this year. Now, I found this blog because I've been Googling people's the way people do this. I've been trying to amass as many different ways of doing this. And I was reading a blog. I can't tell you who it was. Never heard of her before, but it was very interesting. So what she did was she did this. 11 plus 17 equals 28. So she used the number 28, and then she said, okay, so I'm 28 and this is an 8-year, so therefore my number is 36. And if I reduce 36, I also get a 9. Okay. Now, if I go back and I think about the way that I started doing this with it, which is perhaps part of the system of creating a life path number. I'm not sure where I got this from. So what I used to do, so because Amy's birthday is in November, I would start by reducing 11. And you see, this is funny. We'll do this both ways, by reducing 11 to a 2. But there are, numerologically, I have heard you never reduce 11s because 11s have this magical frequency to them. But let's do this just for fun. So we've got, and I'll post this comment one second. 11 becomes 2. 17 is 8. And the year is 8. And that way you get 18. And that way you get 18. So once upon a time, I used to do it this way. Okay, now let's add one more thing. I said you never reduce, or some people say you never reduce the number 11 because it's a sacred master number. But we can reduce 18. Sorry, your birthday is 17. We can reduce that to an 8 and 8. So that makes 16 and 11. So that equals 27. So if we don't reduce the 11, then we get 11 plus 8 equals 27, and 27 reduces to a 9. So it's possible, Amy, to work with the moon, and I would say that the predominant energy is, okay, I want to go to this comment here. Okay. Yes, and this is this method of taking out all the individual numbers. I have seen this for life path work. So let's do this. So 1 plus 1 plus 17, right? Plus 7 plus, I'm just going to type this all out so we can all see it together. And so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 17, 18, 19. Oh, I got 20. Why do I get 20? 6, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so that's what you got. Now, this calculation, I have seen this as how you create your life path number. And honestly, I don't think it matters which way you do it, as long as you do this consistently each year. Hi, Pedro. Welcome. So it's interesting because the way that numbers and the frequency of numbers, and I think that's one of the most important things, is to understand that numbers have a frequency. And so the frequency of single numbers is really quite extraordinary because they are the basis of every other number. So in a way, Amy, I would say that 9 is more powerful than 18. When we look at that in terms of the tarot and the relationship between Hermit and Moon, that's really quite a powerful reflection. And there you could be comparing the journey of Virgo, mutable earth energy, with mutable water energy, the Pisces journey. And so I might also look into my chart, my natal chart, and see, okay, what Pisces stuff am I working through? What planets are in Pisces? What planets are in Virgo? And this might help you choose one that has greater focus. There's just so many rabbit holes that we can go down here. Okay. And I honestly, I mean, a lot of people just choose it by random selection, shuffle the cards and cut the cards. And this is my card for 2024. And we all know that the tarot works perfectly that way, that every card that we choose, whether we shuffle the deck for every single position or we shuffle and cut and draw the cards sequentially as they are stacked in the deck, it ends up being just the perfect message that we need to receive. And I think we need to trust in our own process, to not, this gets so messed up when we start doubting our process and doubting what we're doing. I come into my practice it's like I jump into the deep end, fully committed to this. And so I thought today I would demo something completely out of the blue I've never done as choosing a tarot card of the year. Um, so let's just play, okay? Let's just play. And then after that, I will get on and share with you my spread. Okay. So here's what I was thinking. I'm going to stay with the deck that I'm using for my readings, which is the Wild Unknown. Okay. And this is just something I thought of just before I came on. This is completely riffing. This is an 8-year. Everybody agreed? It's an 8-year? 2024, 2 + 2 + 4. If you are living in another part of the world, if you're in Japan, and in Japan, there is another system for counting the years. You could be working with the year of the emperor. Different countries have different years, but anybody who is using this system, hopefully we all agree this is 2024. You could be in some sort of a time warp and it's not, but I'm going to work with 2024. 2 + 2 + 4 equals 8. 8. On the Tree of Life, 8 is the Sephira of Hod, Mercury. Mercury, right? I was thinking, I have had a predominance of swords cards in my readings this year. If I do a first operation, which I'll demo in a moment, and I have a significator in mind, and I am looking through the 4 piles for my topic card or my significator, I kid you not, it has been in the swords pile, let me say 8 out of 10 times in this past year. I have been inundated with swords. Now, this energy has started to change, but it's really interesting. So I was thinking, okay, 8 is Hod. When I think of the energy of Mercury, I think of the intellect, I think of the mind, I think of the element of air. And I know sometimes the elements are signed a little differently with the planets, but I'm going to go with air. And I'm just thinking maybe there's more to be revealed. And this is my process. This is my completely made up process for choosing my card of the year. And so I use my left hand, I do the first operation, divide the cards into their, I really don't need to do this one because I'm going to be using the swords pile. And so I'm going to work with this group of cards, which is the air pile, to select my card of the year. So this is as far as my thinking got. And I'm thinking, all right, my card of the year, the card I need to work with most is going to be here. Ten of Swords is on the bottom. Okay, you can laugh with me on that one. I'm going to shuffle this pile. And maybe I decide to do a 12 card circular year ahead spread with this. There's more than 12 cards here. But I'm just doing this process just to think, okay, what do I need to know? What's my card? So I'm using this pile. I'm going to cut. You know what? I could even do something crazy. I could cut this again. I could cut this again and go to the swords within the swords. Let's just play. Let's even do it again. Is there one card here? There we go. And the intention of that little exercise was very intentional. And I wonder if this is a card that I need to look back. I don't think this card showed up in my reading. But all I'm saying here is that with your heart and with your intention, sorry if you can hear Amber, she's drinking her water. She's so noisy. The perfect card will be drawn. Okay. And if you are following along with my readings for the card of the year, the reason that I'm doing a reading for every single major arcana is that there are different ways to select your card of the year. And while I have spoken to the Mary Greer system, and I'm using that personally these days, I want to respect other ways of choosing your card of the year. And if you're doing the Mary Greer method, then there will be no cards of the year. There'll be no 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So technically, if I was just sticking to my method, I would be getting close to being finished. I would be doing no star reading tomorrow. But I am honoring everybody's method, and I'm going to do a reading for all 22 majors. Okay. Now, I had questions about, oh, that's good. It was perfect. I meant to say my card of the year last year, your reading, that was perfect. Thank you. I appreciate I love all your feedback, and I can't say enough. That's why I keep doing what I'm doing, because your feedback is so supportive. And hello, Janine. Welcome. Namaste. So this year, I wanted to mix it up. And I was teaching a class or guiding a class. I am no expert in this field. I wonder if I still have a banner. I was doing a class called Tarot Through the Planets. This one. And I decided to lead this class because, partly inspired by my Thoth Inspired series, I started to pick up on, and this is still in my shop if you're interested, you can watch the replays, really pick up on the energy of the planets and get more curiosity. I would love to become an astrologer. I have been a novice and an aspiring astrologer for many years, and I'm so curious about Sumerian, like really going back through the history of astrology. And I have a deep Indian connection, so I have a couple of favorite Vedic astrologers. I've had my chart read. I've had lots of readings when I'm in India. I'm open to it all, fascinated by the planets. And so I thought, okay, I want to incorporate the planets into my spread this year. And I pulled out these cards from Patrick Fogarty's deck. And I thought, and I wanted to have an 8-card reading. So normally the Earth is not included in the planets. These are the 7 classical planets. And I thought, okay, this is an 8-year. I want an 8-card reading. Your card of the year feels to me like the central concept of your year. It is the center of the reading. The sun is the center of the cosmos. Now, for those of us that are a little more egocentric. I suppose you could say the earth is the center of the cosmos. And it might make sense to have the earth at the center of the reading because this is not a planet that is typically included in the classical planets. So I had these cards on the table and I was playing with them and I thought, well, it makes sense. The sun is at the center of the tree of life as well in the sixth sephira of Tiferet. What about if I try to arrange these in tree of life order? So going up the central pillar, we have earth, and then we have moon in Yesod, and sun in Tiferet. There's nothing in Keter, right? Keter is Keter. We have Saturn. We have Saturn in Binah. And then we have Mars in Geburah. And we have Jupiter in Hesed. And we have Mercury in Hod. And we have Venus in Netzach. So this is eight cards, but I didn't like the aesthetics of this shape. I wanted to make a circular reading. And so I was playing with the planets, and I actually had a few iterations of this and how I was trying to set this up without changing this order too much. And also, let me turn off that thing. It's annoying. When I was teaching this class, I wanted to start with that which is closest to us. So I started the course with the moon. And I think then I went, moon. That's Mercury. I started with moon, and then I think I did maybe Mercury and Venus and then Mars. And then I did Jupiter and then Saturn. Oh, well, of course we did the sun as well. So how do I turn this into a circular 8-card reading? I liked the idea of having the sun in the center of the reading. For me, this light is also, the light of the sun is also part of Anahat chakra. And Anahat chakra, when you do a meditation on the, sorry, my eye is doing this. I've just had way too much computer time lately. My neighbor. The sun, the light in the Anahat chakra, Jyotir. It makes a lot of sense. There is this unflickering flame called Jyotir that lives in the heart center. And this was another reason I really wanted to have sun, this light, this fire at the center. It just felt like it needed to stay there. And so I began to play with the positioning of the cards. And because I was starting with justice, I was looking at relationships among the planets. And one relationship that is... Now, why did I do it this way? I think it might have been with one of the justice cards. I wanted to have Mars and Venus balanced. And I suppose that, I know why, because right side masculine, left side feminine. Maybe that's why I did it that way. There was some rhyme or reason to why I switched these, because if I had been doing this in a tree of life pattern, I would have kept Venus on her side of the tree of life and Mars on his side of the tree of life. If you look at them that way, and please don't fuss about the pronouns. I know these are energies. They keep them on their sides. But that's not what happened. I decided that I was going to put Venus on the left side. And so the spread began here. I wanted to keep the moon in alignment with the sun. That was not debatable. So what does this mean? That means that your significator, your card of the year, is going to cover this one up, but I am aware of the relationship between the moon and the sun, the lunar and the solar, Venus and Mars. And then, because I wanted 8 cards, I had to place these other 4 cards somewhere else. And so I played with them. Now, the reason that Jupiter and Saturn ended up at the top, well, I wanted to have them near each other. This is such an interesting relationship between the expansion of Jupiter and the restriction of Saturn. The Father and the Son, they are outer planets, and so it felt like having them at the top connected to their outerness. And so they ended up at the top of my spread. And I quite like them up there, actually. The other thing here that is really cool is that with Saturn up here and the connection with Binah, it just kind of felt like it was close to where it was supposed to be. And then I had 2 cards left, one Mercury. And if I placed Mercury here, it was also kind of close to Hod, to its position on the tree of life. And, one thing I haven't talked about in the readings is that Venus and Mercury, these 2 planets, are across from each other on the tree of life. And you might want to go back and look at your reading and just see what the relationship is between 7 Netzach and 8 Hod. I know this is totally out of tree of life whack, but these 2 planets also have an interesting and harmonizing energy. So that's where they ended up. And then the Earth ended up over here. And I'm okay with that because the Earth on the tree of life is down here. It feels like it's not too far away. This also, if I'm looking at this in terms of maybe this would not be the natural place of Netzach and Venus and Earth, and that all just kind of made sense to me. So these are the positions that I decided to leave my to leave the reading in. And honest to God, the readings have gone so well. Today's tower reading quite literally blew me away. These readings are a combination of my experience, downloading, new readings, just random connections of stuff. And I have really enjoyed the pace of this year's readings. And if you're not aware, in previous years, I did this as a marathon, and I did about 10 or 12 readings a day back to back, and I did readings for like 12 hours. It was exhausting. And so this year I'm doing them 1 per day, 1 at a time over 22 days. And I likely will do day 23 at some point to do some sort of a summary, because like every year we've had lots of repeating cards. So yeah. So that's my process. I hope that answered those of you that had questions about, what are you doing, Sadhana? What are you doing? This is what I'm doing. My way, my thing. Janine, your date of birth is October 4th, 1973. Okay, we don't need the 1973. So I get 8 13. You got death? I've got death. And let's see if we do it another way. We get 1 plus 4 plus 8. I get 13. So a couple of different ways. I get 13. Hello, Ramon. Namaste. Welcome. So that's that. That's it. And if there's any questions or anything that I say in the readings, so I've done justice, hanged man, death, temperance, devil. Today I did the tower. Tomorrow I will do the star. And I will carry on, and I'll do them in the order. And the final reading will be for 7, the chariot. And I believe that's like on the 18th of January or something. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. Thank you all so much for your support. Appreciate your questions. And I'm going to sign off because I'm coming back on at 12 o'clock to do some unfinished business with this amazing deck. And I can't not finish this project, so I'm going to be on for doing this over the next couple of Fridays. This is the Lux Pragnia Tarot, and my mission is to fit and find cards for each of the minors. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome. Happy New Year to all of you, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. Take good care. Namaste.